Metaphysics and Politics, a philosophical exploration of ideological foundations, Part 7, the radical branching of materialism, anarchism as voluntary anti-authoritarianism. As socialism represents an intermediate stage of materialist collectivism, employing state or cooperative mechanisms to address economic disparities through structured planning, we encounter the spectrum's far materialist extremes, where ideologies diverge into radical critiques that either abolish or temporarily harness authority to achieve classless societies. This bifurcation logically arises from socialism's inherent tensions. While it relies on institutional power for equity, historical implementations have often perpetuated hierarchies, prompting alternatives that either intensify state control for revolutionary ends or reject it outright in favor of decentralized autonomy. This progression reflects a rational exploration of materialism's implications. If reality is reducible to empirical forces in human relations, then optimal governments might dispense with coercive structures altogether, assuming voluntary cooperation can sustain complex societies. Anarchism, as one branch, exemplifies this anti-statist impulse. Positioned alongside communism in the far atheistic materialist category of our spectrum, anarchism fundamentally rejects hierarchical authority, including the state, capitalism, and other coercive institutions, in favor of voluntary, decentralized cooperation among individuals or communities. Metaphysically, it is typically grounded in a materialist or humanist worldview, prioritizing empirical reason, natural law, or evolutionary mutualism over transcendent entities. Logically, this foundation denies metaphysical hierarchies or divine orders, viewing them as alienating constructs that undermine human freedom, and equating God and the state as twin oppressors. The dominant threads remain secular and anti-authoritarian, assuming reality is shaped by human autonomy and solidarity without imposed higher realities. Rationally, this approach posits that ethical norms emerge from mutual aid and rational self-interest, enabling societies to function without domination, though it presupposes widespread voluntary adherence to prevent reversion to power vacuums. Socially and politically, anarchism organizes society through voluntary associations, federations, or communes, with decision-making via direct democracy, consensus, or worker syndicates. Property is often communal or use-based, with production managed collectively to meet needs, diffusing power to avoid a ruling class. Enforcement depends on social norms, mutual accountability, and non-coercive means, though some strains endorse revolutionary action to dismantle existing structures. Anarchism's structure assumes decentralized coordination can efficiently address collective needs, countering the state's coercive inefficiencies. However, it rationally requires a robust community tied to resolving conflicts without formalized authority, which is potentially challenging in large-scale or diverse contexts. In distinguishing anarchism from other materialist ideologies, its immediate anti-statism stands out. Versus communism, both critique capitalism and aim for classless societies, but anarchism abolishes the state outright, viewing it as inherently oppressive, whereas communism employs a transitional proletarian state. Logically, this makes anarchism more purist in rejecting authority, though communism's structure offers a phased path to similar ends. Compared to socialism, anarchism opposes any state intervention, favoring bottom-up organization over institutional welfare or planning. From democratic socialism, it diverges by rejecting electoral politics and gradual reforms in favor of direct action. On the broader spectrum, it contrasts with secular liberalism's institutional individualism by eliminating governance hierarchies altogether, and with theocratic monarchies' divine order by denying transcendent justifications for authority. Anarchism's logical strengths include its emphasis on autonomy and mutualism, providing frameworks for equitable, flexible societies that adapt to local needs, fostering innovation amid crises. Rationally, it extends materialist critiques to promote genuine freedom from coercion, countering hierarchical exploitation. Nonetheless, this radicalism may encounter practical hurdles. Without mechanisms for large-scale coordination, it could fragment into conflicts or inefficiencies, though its voluntary ethos often incorporates adaptive strategies to mitigate such risks. This ideology, thus, highlights the spectrum's materialist extremity, complementing our forthcoming analysis of its revolutionary counterpart, communism.